In the first paragraph, you want to start off with a strong statement about your gap in your research, why you're fit for the PhD, and what you're applying for. In the second paragraph, you want to talk about why this university, the research, what is it about, what exactly in the project triggered you. In the third paragraph, you want to talk about your academic qualification.
But just to let you know that if you hear personal statement, statement of purpose, um, expression of interest, statement of intent, don't think they are all the same thing. Go to university, go through the guidelines, and know what they expect you to write. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're just seeing me for the first time, my name is Jemima Chuku, and on this channel, I'm actually sharing my lifestyle vlogs, travel vlogs, and how I'm navigating as an international student here in the UK. Good. So in this video, I'm basically going to be showing you guys how to write a personal statement. Before I take you guys to my computer, I just want to let you guys know that there's a difference between a personal statement, a statement of purpose, and I've forgotten what they call it in Australia. Is the expression of interest, something like that. So if you're applying to, say, the UK, US, Australia, New Zealand, wherever you're applying to, you want to confirm with the university what they want you to put in this personal statement. Because, for instance, in the UK, how you write it will differ from how you expect to get it from the US. So, the US, they mainly want to see stuff like your academic achievements, your previous work experience, how it relates to what you're applying to. But then the UK wants to see more like a personal story, what inspired you, how you got here, it's kind of quite similar, but there's kind of like a distinction to what you need to write. If it's the US, I would say, in my opinion, is more harsh, or is more, you need to put more information to convince the people. But if it's the UK, your personal story is okay to let them know that you're passionate to do this PhD or to continue with this course, if that makes sense. So you want to verify which country are you applying to, and know what you need to put in what personal statement. And another thing I want to tell you is, if you're applying to plenty PhD topics or plenty MSc topics, you need to have different personal statements. It's helpful. A lot of people will say, no, you can use the same personal statement. But in my opinion, I feel like it's good to have different personal statements so you can channel each personal statement to the description of the project you want to apply to. So I feel like it's good to have different personal statements. So in this video, I would kind of like be showing you two personal statements. I'm going to show you my personal statement that I used to apply for my PhD, of course. And then I'm going to show you kind of another kind of personal statement, still the UK personal statement. Yeah, just so that you can see the variations of doing the same thing but in different contents or different ways. Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah, so what else again do I need to let you know? So for the Australia, I do not know much about it, but I know when I was trying to apply then, they needed something like an expression of interest, where you need to, I really do not really know what that content is about, but you might want to check it. But another thing I also want to let you know is, for your personal statement, you need to make the first paragraph very catchy. Let's get straight into writing the personal statement. Let's go, you guys.
You don't want to plagiarize, because if you use exactly what I have in this personal statement, you'll be sorry for you. Because this university actually has like plagiarism tools to check if you've used somebody's essay. I'm just kind of going to use this essay to guide you on how to write yours. So, first thing you want to do is have a title in bold, personal statement of your name, and then for what program. Is it for a PhD? Is it for an MSc? Is it to get into uni? For what it is. Then you want to start with an opening sentence that needs to challenge your audience. So you want to like make it catchy, make it strong, like attention grabbing. Because if you read this, it says the gloomy reality of the underrepresentation of dedicated women in STEM, especially women from the minority group, is not just a mere statistic but a narrative that needs challenging. I think this should have been mere. Ooh, And I got, I just, when you keep advancing in wisdom, you see different things to change. So this is a very strong attention grabbing opening sentence that needs to like set you out. So the second sentence is where you want to talk about your identity. You want to highlight who you are. You want to talk about what you bring, your ambition, and how the field will impact you. So that is what you want to say in the second sentence. And then the third thing in the same first paragraph, what you want to talk about is why you're writing this personal statement. So I've gone on to say this, among other factors, blustered my interest to apply for this funded PhD studentship with the PBSRC at the University of Manchester, United Kingdom. So you want to clearly state your application goal. Why are you applying? Is it for a funding? Is it for just a normal application? Is it just for a normal MSc? Is it for its funding? You really want to be specific about that. So that builds on your first paragraph. I'll just nicely kind of relate it to this personal statement that I got from somebody that I also proofread. What you want to check is there's something wrong with this personal statement, that the personal statement is not justified. You can see that it's having some kind of like rigor up here compared to the way I have mine here. All so what we call it is you need to justify the personal statement. So I'm just going to press Ctrl J and that justifies it. So if you look at this personal statement, I just got the first two paragraphs of this personal statement just to compare with mine, and you can see how to make it work. So the first thing, like I mentioned, is come up with a very strong starting statement and why it relates to your interest or why it relates to you or your identity. So this one has started with originating from a low income country where advanced medical research and specialized neurological care are notably deficient. My undergraduate studies exposed me to neuroscience and neuroanatomy models, which inspired my commitment to delve into the brain complex functions. From a low income country, this is what I want you to highlight. So the talk there is from a low income country, you're making the personal statement personal. They don't just want you to write a couple of things that anybody can write. They want you to make it personal. So that makes it personal. And then this person goes ahead to talk about why the person is applying. What is the application goal? So it comes up with recognizing the person need for innovative therapeutic strategies in such complexes. I am eager to specifically research. You put the research topic and then the supervisor's name. So there are different ways you could start the personal statement, but bear in mind that you have to be checking the word count, if that makes sense. So this is the first paragraph of mine, and then we're going to move to the second paragraph. So the second paragraph goes on to talking about like what my research interest is, and you also want to in this paragraph talk about the potential of your supervisor, why you feel you fit into their research team. So that's what you want to do in the second paragraph. So what I did here is I said I am particularly interested in researching using markers of gene, blah 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 blah. The title, put it in italics. Um so it helps them quickly see what you are applying for. You also want to mention the supervisor's name so that they know the particular project you're applying for. But if it's for masters, you just talk about you're particularly researching or you're particularly interested in maybe the MSc in, you put the course here. But since this is a PhD, I just went on to say in researching using markers of completed topics supervised by that. So now I want to talk about the project fit, like why I feel like I'm fit for this project. So what I wanted to talk about is the project methodology. So I said the project methodology, which employs innovative techniques to study the gene regulatory networks related to blah 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 and their evolutionary significance, is intriguing. At this stage, what advice I want to give is using intrusion is kind of vague. Um, Maybe I was just lucky to escape that. But you want to talk about what it is that interests you, because just saying intrusion, me thinking now, I'm just feeling like you want to avoid it. If it was me that wrote this personal statement again, I wouldn't use intrusion. I would just talk about the project, like why, maybe say it aligns perfectly with my research ambition or it aligns with my research goals. You want to be specific instead of using intrusion. Okay. So I went on to talk about my technical awareness, like what the methodological approach. I went on to discuss the approach because I didn't just say I loved the methodological approach. I went for that to discuss what it is. So that means you need to know what the project is about. You need to know what the project is about. So I said the integration of various omic analysis, like talks about transcriptomics, epigenomics, presents a promising research path for an early career researcher like me. Like me, I'm trying to make it personal because it's a personal statement. Good. And then I said these methodologies alongside techniques from your recent paper. So you want to let the researcher know that you've done thorough research about this individual. The person you want to work with, you need to do your research about this person. What kind of research is this person involved in? And can you be part of the research team? So I've said alongside techniques from from your research paper, which you utilized. So I'm not just saying your research paper, I'm talking about the paper. So the person really knows that I read the paper, which utilize bulk and single cell. Um, it was supposed to be bulk and single cell. Oh, I missed that. Bulk and single cell RNA sequencing and the in silico modeling of the maternal embryonic interface using hypernetwork analysis. So I kind of talked about the method the supervisor used. You see, so I'm trying to let the supervisor know that yeah, I've read about you. This is me. I think I can be this. I can join your research team, and that is it. And then I went on to say how my own skills link to what the research or the project has to offer. I said beyond my foundation knowledge in Python, which I acquired during my internship at GESEP, I have currently begun the programming methodologies course on Academic Europe Online, also the graduate skill training program and the schemic course offered by the BBSRC DTP perfectly aligns with my keen interest in mastering coding and advanced mathematical computational computations crucial for this research. This is saying that I really know what the project is about. It's going to involve coding and some advanced mathematical computations. So if I go back again to show you the other person's own that I told you I preferred, if you look at the second paragraph, it's the same thing it's doing. What is it doing? It's talking about your research interest, how you fit in this project, and how you will survive. So this is what he has said. I am drawn to this project because of its fascinating methodology too. So it mustn't just be only methodology. You could say the aims, you could talk about the significance of the project, you can talk about other things. It mustn't be methodology. But when you mention what you are interested in, particularly about the project, you need to discuss further about it. So I said, particularly the integration of computational modeling, not me, the person, computational modeling with neuroimaging data sets to understand whole brain dynamics. So this is you talking about what the project is about. So it lets the reader or the assessor know that you understand what the PhD is about. So it went on to say, I am excited to know that it involves using an existing data set and that I will have the opportunity to collect new data at the university to validate this project's models, predictions, sorry. So this is you talking about what the project is about. Also, I am excited about the opportunity to work along the research team whose research focuses on creating and processing memories intersects with my interests. So in my own, I talked about how I read the supervisor's paper to show that you're interested in this research team that you'll be joining, because it's going to be a 4 years. You want to be sure that you're with the right team. This one now is trying to talk about how he or she has researched about the lab and how their research focuses on something that ties in or intersects with his or her interests. So it is you letting them know that you've done your proper research. So if I move on to what the third paragraph is about, so the third paragraph, you want to go ahead to now start talking about your academic background and the relevance. How you like give evidence of what you think really ties you with the project. So I clearly presented my academic credentials. Why you want to do this is because sometimes when you're applying, the space they let you put your degree is not enough. So you want to talk about it really in details. If you've been following my previous video, I have talked about how I didn't get a distinction, but I was able to make it know that I'm also a high flyer student. If you've not watched the video, you want to go up here to watch the video and see what's happening there or what I shared there. And I've also said I hold a BSc in anatomy. And I went on to be practical about what I've learned from these modules. I'm not just boasting about what I've achieved, but you want to go on to talk about how it's like how it's relevant. So I said a clinical module which I studied during my master's program centered on embryo endometrial interactions further arose. Should it be arose or aroused? You see, we keep getting better. Aroused my interest in this project. This model also significantly contributed to my understanding of the intricate processes in early human development. The hands-on approach of my master's thesis, you want to now talk about relevant skills that you have. So if you've talked about your academic achievements, you want to talk about, say, in this paragraph, you talked about your academic achievements. You want to talk about the skills that fit in. Skills that fit in. So they all come up in this paragraph. Yeah. So it's you have to put all of them in this paragraph. Practical skills are not just listing skills that, oh, you have skills in computing, you have skills in coding, you have to make it make sense to them. So I said my hands-on approach of my thesis, which involved novel insights into the role of taurine 2 in enhancing sperm motility. This includes me doing garment culture, cryopreservation, touring, sperm preparation, and adherence to standard SOPs. This experience have prepared me for the demands of this PhD. So it's you talking about your skills, if that makes sense. Good. And then you want to go on to the fourth paragraph. So in this fourth paragraph, you want to talk about any research experience that would be relevant to the PhD or any professional skills that you've gathered so far. So that's what I did in this fourth paragraph. I said, I've published 4 original research articles. I have a manuscript in review, though, blah, 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 blah. So from this, you're not just boasting, you want to say what you learned from this achievement you're putting out there. And this is what I said I've learned. Through this, I've developed relevant skills in academic writing, referencing, utilizing research tools such as PubMed, EndNote, Google Scholar, ResearchGate, Mendeley. I would have added Research Rabbit. Now there are lots of things that can help you. And then I also said I'm also acquainted with using SPSS, even if I do not know if that's what I'm going to use in the PhD, but I want to talk about how I'm conversant with at least basic um, research things. And I also talked about my professional stuff, my active participation in professional societies, and experience in presenting posters and papers, because these guys want to know that you can communicate or you can be part of the academic community. You want to do 4 years and they don't just want somebody that's just going to be book, book, book. They want somebody that will be able to communicate science. So me talking about what I've done, I'm not just boasting about going to conferences, presenting papers. I'm also talking about what this skill has equipped me with. So I went on to say, this has shaped my ability to utilize to critically analyze, communicate science effectively, initiate and engage in scientific discussions. So this is what I gained from the presenting papers and all of it. You want to talk about whatever point you're putting out there. And I went on to say, if selected for this studentship, anticipate to further refine these skills. So you want to make it look as if you are going to learn, you're going to be subjective to learn. So not that you've learned all the skills in the world, but you're still going to learn. So that's what I try to highlight here, that this PhD is going to help me further refine these skills, excel in poster presentation at the DTP symposium of my cohort, try to make it passionate, because I went to Google and I saw that there's going to be a symposium, a DTP symposium as part of the PhD. So I talked about how I'm going to present there. And I also talked about how I'm going to actively participate in scientific discussions at residential workshops, usually organized. So I kind of try to make it real, practical, and show that I've done my research. So I was kind of careful here. I didn't want to go straight to start talking about how I'll look for part-time jobs, like part-time teaching assistant jobs. They might think that it's going to distract you from the PhD. So I just went on to cap it at university's broader educational goals. Good. So then in the final paragraph, what you want to do is um, talk about your future goals and close the paragraph. Usually, it's advisable that your personal statement should end in one page. Some universities are okay with 4,000 words, some are okay with 500 words. So you need to try to make sure it's in one page. But if you can't, just try to make sure it's not so far from it, like I have here. So in this final paragraph, I started with clear long-term goals and future goals. I said the BBSRC 3 months placement program presents a valuable opportunity to advance this ambition and help me gain job opportunities. So I've researched that they actually do a placement program for the BBSRC program. So I was still able to show passion that I've actually done my research about what I want to get into. And then I went on to talk about the university, why I chose the university. It depends on how you want to do it. Some people put why they've chosen the university around this paragraph. No, not here. They do it around this paragraph. So it depends on you why this university. So some people do it around this paragraph when they've talked about um some when they've talked about like why they chose the project around here, or they do it around here when they've talked about why the project. So it depends on how you want to write it. So if I quickly recap what I've just told you, so in your first paragraph, you want to start off with a strong opening statement, a strong statement about the maybe the gap of maybe why the research, and then quickly why you and why you fit, why should they choose you, what are you applying for. I've kind of messed up my personal statement now, but I just want you to see what each paragraph should contain in case you want to start writing yours. So a strong statement about the gap, and I've talked about the gap here, is that STEM women in STEM are not really involved in this kind of research, and there's a reproductive biology problem that needs attention, and why I've chosen this. Why me was in I stand as a dedicated female scientist driven to make substantial contributions, and what I'm applying for, this is what I'm applying for. So in this paragraph, the second paragraph, like I said, you want to go on to talk about your research interests and projects, the research interests. Let's also mention your skills with examples. So you don't want to say this is the skills that I have, or this is you want to talk about, you want to really be practical. And then here you want to talk about your academic achievement skills. Um in the third paragraph, you want to talk about um your academic qualification. So don't forget, in that paragraph, you want to talk about your academic qualification and relevance too. Can be your background. Yeah, you want to talk about it in the third paragraph. So And also you want to mention like skills, previous laboratory skills, previous lab skills that you have gained. So you want to talk about it in that third paragraph. And then the fourth paragraph, you want to talk about your academic achievement and the skills that fit in. You want to also talk about it in this paragraph, putting clear goals. And then in the final paragraph, you want to talk about your future goals and maybe why they should choose you, why they should choose you for the PhD, or MSc or funding. Yeah. So this is what you want to talk about in the last paragraph. And yeah, so you want to conclude nicely and put in your name. Some people will say sign, but I don't know. I want to put in your name. So this is it. So I said, if selected, I just want to highlight this one. If selected, this funding represents not just a financial investment, but an investment in the potential impact of my research. So you can see that I'm talking about why they should choose me. So yeah, you guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, like this video, and anticipate more videos on how to get a PhD funding. See you in my next video. Bye.